March is here at last, and gamers everywhere are hyped for the likes of Wo Long Fallen Dynasty and the Resident Evil 4 remake. But what about the potential gems hidden among the 40 or so other games coming out this month? It's not always the huge AAA budget titles that end up being the most amazing, so here are 5 under-the-radar games coming out in March that nobody is talking about. Storyteller is a 2D comic-style puzzle game that puts you in charge of what happens, who the story is about, and whether each character finds love, defeats the villain, and lives or dies. In each scenario, you'll be given a set number of comic panels, a list of characters and events, and a premise, and you must use your wits to retell iconic tales or find something entirely new by arranging those resources until you find a solution that matches the prompt given. In a similar vein to recent indie gems like Unpacking, there are several solutions to every problem, and you'll have the freedom to play around with the assets you have until you find the answer that you like best. This quirky title has a storied history that began way back in 2009 when independent Argentinian developer Daniel Benmergui started work on the idea. It went on to win the Independent Games Festival Nuovo Award for Innovation in 2012, but was later abandoned when the developer fell on hard times. Now, thanks to the Midas touch of can't-miss indie publisher Annapurna Games, the project has a beautiful new hand-drawn look and a new release date of March 23, 2023 for the PC and the Switch. If you've recently enjoyed cozy puzzle games like Unpacking or A Little to the Left, this could be the perfect game to snuggle up to for a few hours of good, clean fun. Have a Nice Death is a 2D action roguelike that takes place in a corporate-themed underworld, and you play as Death himself, the CEO of Death Incorporated. Your underlings have gone rogue and are needlessly overfilling quotas by flooding the afterlife with a bevy of fresh souls, and it's your task to stop them one by one to prevent yourself from suffering career burnout under a mountain of paperwork. Indie roguelikes chasing the dream of being the next Hades or The Binding of Isaac are a dime a dozen these days, but Have a Nice Death sets itself apart by sporting a deeply engrossing hand-drawn world and a generous helping of black comedy that complements the noir aesthetic of the game's color palette. The standard roguelike tropes are all in play here, and reviewers of the beta are quick to point out that it is a particularly difficult experience, so be prepared to struggle unless you're very comfortable with the genre. This is the second game developed by Magic Design Studios, a French team that was formed in 2019 and has extensive experience with Ubisoft working on titles like Splinter Cell and Assassin's Creed. The game's been in early access for almost a year now, but Have a Nice Death will finally get its 1.0 release on March 22nd, 2023 for PC and Switch, and it will retail for $24.99 at launch. If you love a tough roguelike, it may be wise to keep this one on your radar if it ends up playing as good as it looks. Mato Anomalies is an anime-inspired turn-based JRPG that takes gamers on an epic adventure through the neo-futuristic city of Mato. You play as dual protagonists Do and Graham as they head out to unravel the dark secrets of the Blade Runner-esque metropolis and defeat the evil force trying to bring it down. Graham is the muscle you'll lead into battle to fend off the dangers of the city, and Do, unable to participate in the fighting, must gather information from those who are willing to comply and take it by force from the minds of those who are not. Persona fans will feel right at home with the snappy turn-based battles that are sprinkled between robust narrative scenes, as well as the richly developed characters inhabiting this beautifully realized world. A full-fledged card battler is built into the detective portions of the game that puts you toe-to-toe against the psyches of those from whom you must extract the info you need to find your way forward. This is the biggest release yet from developers Aerowiz, a Chinese team that from 2016 up to now has focused primarily on short VR experiences and visual novels, so this is a huge leap forward in ambition for the young company. Mato Anomalies will release on March 10th, 2023 for the PC and all major consoles, and it will retail for $39.99 at launch. It's not getting much coverage yet, but this game has the potential to be a huge sleeper hit if the execution is on point. Dredge is a single-player fishing adventure game that casts players as a fisherman exploring a remote archipelago in search of different species of undersea life and the hidden treasures it hides beneath its waves. The pleasant but vaguely unsettling gameplay loop consists of boating from island to island and fitting whatever you catch into your limited inventory, then selling those finds to the locals in exchange for currency with which you can upgrade your boat and other resources and advance the story. What really makes this journey very different from your standard cozy fishing game is that as you progress, your haul will consist of increasingly odd and disturbing specimen, indicating that there is something sinister waiting for you as you move forward. Don't expect things to get too horrific though, as the game touts an ESRB rating of 10 and up. This is the first title from Black Salt Games, a New Zealand team of 4 who seek to create games with high immersion, excellent execution, and a different experience from anything you've played before, and a Lovecraftian horror fishing RPG seems like a great way to start. Dredge will release on March 30th, 2023 on PC and all major consoles, and we don't have a price point yet, but don't expect to be asked to fork out the full AAA cost. If you like cozy games and don't mind a little eldritch horror sprinkled on top, this should at the very least be an interesting ride. Clash Artifacts of Chaos is a martial arts adventure game starring Pseudo, a warrior who takes a small creature with a mystical healing ability under his wing. Your job is to protect this creature from Gemini, a tyrant with untold power who seeks to use your new companion for her own selfish gains. You'll quickly notice that there are no weapons to wield, but as you level up, you'll improve your hand-to-hand combat abilities and learn ancient techniques that will aid you in your journey. There's also an interesting mechanic that allows you to play dice with your opponent before a battle to determine if either combatant will get an advantage during the fight, such as shackles for the loser or a fog that will obscure their view. The visual design is perhaps the most unique aspect of the game, with a pencil art style that gives the impression the world is being sketched out before you as you explore. This was developed by Ace Team, a studio that's been around for decades making franchises like Rock of Ages and Xenoclash, which this game is technically the third entry in, although the gameplay is very different from the original Xenoclash titles. Clash Artifacts of Chaos will release on March 9th, 2023 for PC, the PlayStations, and the Xboxes, and it will retail for $39.99 at launch. If you've gotten into recent martial arts games like Absolver or Sifu and enjoyed the combat, this indie prospect might be worth keeping tabs on if it reviews well. That was 5 under-the-radar games coming out this March that nobody is talking about. Which games will you be playing at launch? Let me know what you're most looking forward to in the comments, and be sure to subscribe for more gaming news and all kinds of other gaming content. Thanks for watching!